Did you know that nearly 1 in 4 American adults, that's over 58 million people, are now living with a form of arthritis, and for most of them, mornings are the hardest. Not because they're tired, but because they're stiff, aching, locked up. I'm Dr. James Porter, and I've seen this too many times to count. Someone wakes up, stretches their legs, and suddenly their knees scream back at them. Or their fingers are so stiff they can't even grip a toothbrush. You try to ignore it, you blame it on the weather, or maybe on getting older. But deep down, you know something's not right. I want you to know you're not imagining this, and you're definitely not alone. Morning joint pain is real. It's frustrating, and it can feel like your body is working against you before the day even starts. But here's the truth most people don't hear. The first thing you eat in the morning can either make your pain worse or start to ease it. In this video, we're going to talk about real, research-backed foods. Nothing fancy, nothing expensive. Just simple breakfast options that can help reduce inflammation and support your joints from the inside out. Because healing doesn't always begin in a clinic or a pill bottle. Sometimes it starts at your kitchen table with one small change, one morning at a time. And if you're new here, I invite you to subscribe to this channel. I share natural, practical ways to manage arthritis that many doctors don't always have time to explain. No hype, just real help. Now, let's take a look at the first powerful food that deserves a place in your morning. So let's begin with something simple, something golden: turmeric. You've likely heard of it before. Maybe you've even sprinkled a little into your cooking. But when it comes to arthritis, turmeric isn't just a spice, it's a tool, a real one. The magic lies in a compound called curcumin, the active ingredient in turmeric. Curcumin has been widely studied for its anti-inflammatory effects, and when used consistently, it can actually help calm down the overactive immune response that fuels arthritis pain. Here's the science. In one 2016 randomized controlled trial published in the Journal of Medicinal Food, researchers found that curcumin supplementation significantly reduced joint pain and swelling in patients with active rheumatoid arthritis comparable to the effects of ibuprofen, but without the gastrointestinal side effects. Why does this matter? Because chronic inflammation is the fire that damages your joints. And curcumin works by blocking inflammatory pathways in the body, specifically the NF-κB molecule, which plays a major role in triggering the production of inflammatory cytokines. Think of it like turning off the faucet instead of just mopping up the flood. Now, turmeric alone isn't always well absorbed by the body. That's where black pepper comes in. It contains a compound called piperine, which has been shown to increase curcumin absorption by up to 2,000%, according to research in Planta Medica. So when you blend a turmeric smoothie, just a pinch of black pepper isn't strange, it's smart. I often recommend this simple recipe to patients. Half a banana, a few chunks of frozen pineapple or mango, a half teaspoon of turmeric, a pinch of black pepper, and unsweetened almond milk. Blend it, drink it, that's it. Pineapple adds more than just sweetness. It contains bromelain, an enzyme that also reduces inflammation, especially in soft tissue and joints. Mangoes add antioxidants that help neutralize free radicals. It's a gentle but powerful combination. I remember one patient, a 8-year-old retired contractor named Bill, who struggled with stiff knees every morning. After a few weeks of adding this turmeric smoothie to his breakfast routine, he told me, "Doc, I don't feel 30 again, but I can finally tie my shoes without groaning." And that's what this is about. Not miracles. Not magic, just real foods that quietly support your body's ability to heal. So before you reach for another slice of toast, ask yourself, what if one small glass each morning could help your joints feel just a little more free? In the next part, we'll explore a creamy, protein-rich breakfast that supports not just your joints, but your gut too. Now, if the turmeric smoothie sets the stage with anti-inflammatory power, this next breakfast food works like reinforcement from within, starting with your gut. I'm talking about Greek yogurt. And no, this isn't just a trendy health food. It's a clinically valuable option for those dealing with joint pain and inflammation. Here's why. Your immune system and your gut are deeply connected. In fact, nearly 70% of your immune cells live in your gut lining. And when that environment becomes imbalanced, what we call gut dysbiosis, it can trigger systemic inflammation, which includes the joints. Greek yogurt is rich in probiotics, the beneficial bacteria that help restore a healthy balance in your digestive tract. A 2021 review in Nutrients confirmed that improving gut microbiota through probiotic-rich foods can reduce markers of systemic inflammation, specifically C-reactive protein, CRP, which is often elevated in people with rheumatoid or osteoarthritis. Lower CRP, less joint flare-ups. Better gut health, a calmer immune response. But Greek yogurt doesn't stop there. It's also packed with high-quality protein, which is crucial for maintaining muscle mass, something that often declines with age and arthritis. Why does that matter? Because strong muscles protect the joints. They reduce strain and help improve balance, which lowers the risk of falls and further joint damage. Now, not all yogurts are created equal. I recommend plain, unsweetened Greek yogurt. It has more protein and fewer sugars than regular yogurt. You can sweeten it naturally with fruit, or add a spoonful of walnuts or chia seeds for extra omega-3 second. One of my patients, Sharon, 72, started replacing her toast and jam breakfast with a small bowl of Greek yogurt topped with blueberries and a drizzle of honey. After just a few weeks, she told me, I still have pain, but it doesn't run my whole day anymore. I feel steadier. I feel stronger. And that's the point. When you give your gut the right support, your immune system begins to quiet down. Your inflammation cools. Your joints breathe a little easier. If you've ever felt like your arthritis symptoms come in waves with no clear trigger, consider what might be happening in your gut. In the next part, we'll explore a different kind of support, one that swims upstream and brings omega-3 power straight to your cells. Now that we've looked at gut health, let's shift to something just as essential, to your cells. More specifically, the walls of your cells and how they control the fire of inflammation. This is where omega-3 fatty acids come in, and one of the best sources is fatty fish, like salmon, mackerel, or sardines. You might not think of fish as breakfast food, but when it comes to arthritis, it's one of the most powerful tools on your plate. Here's why. Omega-3 second, particularly EPA and DHA, are essential fats that your body can't produce on its own. They work by interfering with the production of pro-inflammatory molecules like cytokines and prostaglandins, which are the same compounds that drive swelling, pain, and joint stiffness. A landmark study published in Annals of the Rheumatic Diseases followed over 250 patients with rheumatoid arthritis. Those who consumed higher amounts of omega-3 second experienced reduced joint tenderness and morning stiffness, and many were able to lower their dose of anti-inflammatory medications. What's fascinating is that omega-3 second don't just reduce inflammation, they help regulate it. They promote the production of resolvins, molecules that literally help the body resolve inflammation, not just suppress it. That's long-term healing, not just short-term relief. I know salmon or mackerel might sound like a stretch for breakfast, but it doesn't have to be complicated. A slice of whole grain toast, topped with smoked salmon, a little cream cheese, maybe a few capers. It's quick, delicious, and deeply nourishing. For something even simpler, canned sardines or mackerel are affordable, ready to eat, and easy to toss onto toast or into a breakfast salad. I had one patient, Marcus, a 6-7-year-old widower who started adding smoked mackerel to his breakfast twice a week. I never thought I'd be eating fish in the morning, he laughed. But I'm not waking up with fire in my hands anymore. And that's the difference. Omega-3 second don't just touch the symptoms, they calm the root cause. If you truly want to support your joints from the inside out, consider this. Are you giving your cells the right fats to work with, or are you feeding the fire without realizing it? Up next, we'll explore a much smaller food, but one that's just as mighty in its ability to protect and repair: berries. So far, we've focused on foods that calm inflammation and rebuild from within. But what about protecting your joints from further damage day after day? That's where berries come in. They may be small, but when it comes to defending your joints, they act like tiny soldiers, working quietly, constantly, and with remarkable precision. Berries are rich in antioxidants, natural compounds that neutralize harmful molecules called free radicals. Free radicals are unstable byproducts of metabolism and inflammation. If left unchecked, they trigger oxidative stress, which accelerates joint cartilage breakdown and increases stiffness. Among berries, blueberries, strawberries, blackberries, and raspberries are especially high in anthocyanins, a class of antioxidants that give them their deep, vibrant color. But anthocyanins don't just look pretty, they work hard. They've been shown to reduce levels of pro-inflammatory markers like interleukin, 6-IL-6, and C-reactive protein, both of which are elevated in people with arthritis. A 2018 clinical trial published in the journal Nutrients found that adults who consumed freeze-dried strawberries daily for 12 weeks had significantly lower CRP levels and reported less joint pain and stiffness compared to those who didn't. And this wasn't a massive amount, just 50 grams a day. The beauty of berries is not just in their nutrients, it's in their versatility. You can sprinkle them over Greek yogurt, blend them into smoothies, add them to oatmeal, or just eat them fresh by the handful. And yes, frozen berries are just as powerful as fresh ones. They're picked at peak ripeness and retain their antioxidant content through freezing. I remember working with a retired nurse named Helen who lived alone and didn't enjoy cooking. We found a routine that worked. Each morning, she'd grab a bowl of Greek yogurt, toss in a handful of frozen blueberries, and drizzle a little flaxseed on top. Within a month, her morning stiffness had eased. I thought something was wrong, she joked, because I wasn't hurting like usual. That's the power of consistency. You don't need exotic pills or rare ingredients, just the right foods, eaten regularly, in ways that fit your life. And if there's one thing berries teach us, it's this. Sometimes the smallest choices bring the biggest change. In the next part, we'll look at a crunchy, satisfying food that delivers powerful inflammation-fighting fats and one that pairs perfectly with those berries. If berries are the colorful foot soldiers in your fight against inflammation, walnuts are the heavy artillery, and they work beautifully together both on your breakfast plate and inside your body. Walnuts are one of the few plant-based foods naturally rich in alpha-linolenic acid, ALA, a type of omega-3 fatty acid. While not as potent as the EPA and DHA found in fatty fish, ALA still plays a critical role in reducing chronic low-grade inflammation that slowly wears down your joints. Here's how it works. ALA gets converted, albeit in small amounts, into EPA and DHA. But more importantly, it helps lower levels of inflammatory markers, such as TNF-alpha and interleukin-1 beta, both of which are heavily involved in arthritis-related pain and stiffness. A 2017 study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that people who consume just 1 ounce of walnuts per day, about a small handful, experience significant reductions in inflammatory biomarkers after 6 weeks. That's a small change with real impact. But walnuts bring more than just omega-3 second to the table. They're also rich in polyphenols, a group of antioxidants that help protect cartilage from oxidative damage. That means less wear and tear on your joints and better protection over time. Plus, they add something we often forget when dealing with chronic pain satisfaction. That satisfying crunch, the richness of healthy fat, the feeling of fullness, it matters. I had a patient once, Martha, 74, lived alone, struggled with arthritis in her hands. She didn't want complicated recipes. We started simple: Greek yogurt, frozen berries, and a small handful of walnuts every morning. 2 months later, she told me, "It's not just my fingers that feel better. I feel steadier, less drained." That's the hidden benefit. Reducing inflammation doesn't just affect your joints. It affects your energy, your mood, your whole day. And walnuts are easy. You can sprinkle them into oatmeal, stir them into yogurt, or just eat them on the side of your plate. No prep, no mess, just quiet, powerful support for the joints that carry you through each day. Next, we'll revisit a humble classic one that's been sitting in pantries for generations and turns out to be one of the most underrated joint-healing breakfasts of them all. After talking about walnuts, the crunchy omega-3 powerhouses, it makes perfect sense to turn to their soft, steady partner on the breakfast table, oatmeal. And let me be clear, this is not just a filler food or a warm start to a cold morning. Oatmeal, when prepared right, is one of the most underrated anti-inflammatory breakfasts you can choose. Why? Because its power runs deep. First, oatmeal is packed with soluble fiber, particularly beta-glucan, which plays a direct role in reducing systemic inflammation. It does this by feeding the beneficial bacteria in your gut, encouraging them to produce short-chain fatty acids like butyrate. Butyrate, in turn, helps regulate immune function, lowering levels of C-reactive protein, CRP, and improving your body's ability to calm inflammation before it spirals into joint pain. But the real hidden gem in oats is a unique antioxidant group called avananthramides. Found almost exclusively in oats, avananthramides have been shown to inhibit the expression of inflammatory cytokines, particularly NF-κB, which is one of the major switches that turns on inflammation in people with arthritis. In a 2020 review published in Frontiers in Immunology, avananthramides were described as having both anti-inflammatory and antioxidant effects, a rare one-two punch that not only calms current pain, but may also help protect joints from future damage. And the best part? Oatmeal is incredibly versatile. You can stir in turmeric for added anti-inflammatory kick, top it with berries and walnuts for antioxidant synergy, or even mix in flax seeds or chia for an extra boost of omega-3 second. I remember Tom, a 70-year-old retired mechanic with osteoarthritis in both knees. He never liked taking pills and told me, "Doc, if it doesn't come on a spoon or fork, I'm not interested." So we started with one bowl of oatmeal each morning, rolled oats, frozen blueberries, ground flax, a few chopped walnuts. Nothing fancy. After 4 weeks, his morning stiffness eased up. He said, "I don't creak like I used to when I get out of the recliner." That's the beauty of it. Oatmeal doesn't shout. It doesn't sell itself as a miracle. But day after day, it gently nourishes the systems that protect your joints. If you've written off oatmeal as boring or bland, I urge you to take another look. The science behind it is real, and the comfort it brings both to your body and your morning is hard to beat. Next, we'll talk about another breakfast classic, one that's often overlooked, but contains a nutrient most people with arthritis aren't getting enough of. After the gentle comfort of oatmeal, sometimes what your body craves next is something simple but substantial, a classic. A complete food that's been quietly supporting the body for generations. That's where eggs come in. Too often, eggs get left out of arthritis conversations. But they shouldn't. Because beneath that shell lies a concentrated source of joint-supporting nutrition, especially for older adults. Let's start with choline. Choline is an essential nutrient that supports cell membrane health, nerve signaling, and inflammation regulation. It plays a critical role in the production of acetylcholine, a neurotransmitter involved in muscle control and mobility, two things that are deeply affected when arthritis sets in. In fact, research published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that lower choline intake is linked to higher levels of inflammatory markers, including CRP and homocysteine. One large egg provides about 150 milligrams of choline, making it one of the richest natural sources available. But that's not all. Eggs are also a complete protein, meaning they contain all 9 essential amino acids. And that's important because if you're losing muscle due to inactivity or chronic pain, your joints are being forced to do more of the work. Muscle acts like a cushion for your joints. The stronger your muscles, the less pressure your knees, hips, and shoulders have to bear. One egg also delivers small but meaningful amounts of vitamin D, selenium, and B12, all of which play a supporting role in immune function, bone health, and inflammation control. Now, I know some people worry about cholesterol, but the science has evolved. Current guidelines, including those from the American Heart Association, no longer set strict limits on egg consumption for most people. In moderation, eggs can absolutely be part of a healthy anti-inflammatory diet. And preparation doesn't need to be fancy. Scrambled with spinach for extra magnesium and folate. Boiled for a quick breakfast on the go. Or made into an omelet with mushrooms, which contain ergothioneine, a rare antioxidant that may protect joints from oxidative stress. I once worked with a retired piano teacher, Ruth, who had trouble gripping her coffee mug in the morning due to stiffness in her fingers. We made one change, adding a soft-boiled egg and half an avocado to her oatmeal breakfast. "It's nothing complicated," she said, "but I feel more grounded." That's what good food does. It doesn't fix everything overnight, but it gives your body the building blocks to heal, stabilize, and strengthen from the inside out. In the next part, we'll look at how to put all of this together into a breakfast routine that doesn't require perfection, just consistency and care. We've now covered the foods. You've seen how each one brings something powerful to the table, whether it's calming inflammation, nourishing your gut, protecting your cartilage, or easing stiffness. But here's the most important part. None of this works if it's only done once in a while. To truly support your joints, these foods need to become part of your routine. Not a strict diet, not a trend, just a steady habit, something you return to each morning without overthinking it. The good news is, it doesn't have to be complicated. I often tell my patients to think in 3 steps: choose a base, add a protein or antioxidant-rich food, and finish with something anti-inflammatory. For example, you might start with a bowl of oatmeal, then top it with a handful of berries for antioxidants. Add chopped walnuts or a spoonful of flaxseed to fight inflammation from the inside out. Or maybe you prefer Greek yogurt in the morning. That becomes your base. Add a few slices of banana or frozen blueberries, then stir in cinnamon or turmeric for that extra anti-inflammatory boost. Some people like savory options. A slice of whole grain toast with scrambled eggs and a side of sautéed spinach can be just as healing, providing choline, protein, fiber, and essential minerals in one plate. One of my patients, Jerry, 66, used to skip breakfast entirely or grab something sugary with his coffee. He had arthritis in both knees and wrists. We started small. He committed to 5 mornings a week with Greek yogurt, a few frozen berries, and some chopped walnuts. 6 weeks later, he looked at me and said, "Doc, I'm not waking up pain-free, but I can move without holding on to the walls." That's progress. And that's the point. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be consistent. If you miss a morning, don't beat yourself up. Start again the next day. Healing isn't about extremes. It's about what you do most of the time. Many of my patients find it helpful to prep ingredients ahead. Keep frozen berries and cut fruit ready. Boil a few eggs at the start of the week. Place your turmeric, cinnamon, or chia seeds in easy reach. If you can build a breakfast routine that supports your joints, it becomes more than food. It becomes your morning medicine. Quiet, nourishing, and dependable. Next, in our final part, I want to remind you of something even more important than the foods themselves. Your body still wants to heal, and no matter your age or diagnosis, you deserve to feel hopeful again. If you've followed this far, I want to take a quiet moment to say something simple but important. You are not broken. Your body has not given up on you. I know that may be hard to believe if you've been living with arthritis for years, or even decades. If every morning feels like a struggle just to stand up, pour your coffee, or button your shirt. But the truth is, your body is still trying to heal, even when it's hurting. And every small choice you make, especially at the start of the day, gives it more strength to do that. You don't have to overhaul your life overnight. You don't need to chase expensive treatments or follow extreme diets. What you need is consistency, compassion for yourself, and the belief that change is still possible. Maybe that change starts with a bowl of oatmeal instead of a sweet pastry, or a turmeric smoothie instead of skipping breakfast. Maybe it's a few walnuts and berries added to your plate. These aren't just foods. They are signals to your body. I'm here. I'm trying. I still care about feeling better. I've seen this happen with countless patients, many of them well into their 60-second, 70-second, even 80-second. People who were told there was nothing else to do. And yet, when they began treating breakfast like part of their care plan, they felt real improvement. not just in their joints, but in their energy, their balance, their hope. So, if you've been thinking, is it too late for me? My answer is no. It's not too late. It's never too late to give your body what it needs to feel stronger, steadier, and more alive. Thank you for staying with me through this journey. If you found this video helpful, I truly hope you'll subscribe to Golden Health. It's the best way to stay connected as we continue exploring natural, practical ways to support your body one step at a time. And if you know someone who wakes up with joint pain, maybe share this with them. You never know how much one small change or one small video can mean to someone else. Take good care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next one.